Welcome to Binge Diaries. I have thoughts, so let's unpack. Okay, so I am ready to unpack Bitten Season 1, Episode 6. And to be completely honest, if I'm being honest, I had to watch this episode a couple of times. I don't know what it was, or if it just wasn't hitting for me. I don't know what it was. I thought I was done with it because it went on, and I went on to Episode 7, and I was confused, so I had to go back. I realized that it was this episode, Episode 6, that I don't know, it was just a tad bit confusing, maybe because it introduced us to a character, and then all of a sudden the character was thrown in as a monkey. I don't know, but I think I do got it put together for the most part. So let's go ahead and unpack what I do have, what I understand. All right, so as soon as it comes on, a mutt shows up to the Denver's house, and he is wanting to, I guess, challenge for alpha. I think that's pretty much what I got from it. He was like ranting on about what his father said or whatever, and Clay beat him to a pulp and sent him on his merry way. Then it goes into Elena. She's in Toronto with her boo or whatever, and she tells him about Victor Olsen, which is the man that Zachary Kane was meeting with in the park, and that knew about her or whatever. And she was like, he's locked up though. She tells him that as like part of a lie to cover up like a different werewolf that she has saw, but I guess she doesn't know that he's out yet. Yeah, maybe that's it. So that happened. She decided to move in with him. Okay, so more members of the pack is dead at the hands of the mutts again, and Jeremy was again challenged for alpha. So this time he went on ahead and he fought. And when I tell you I did not see this the first time I watched it, so clearly I was distracted. Like I missed this whole part. So yeah, he won. It was really nothing for Jeremy. But in the middle of the fight, the mutt that was challenging him said, he said you wouldn't fight. And Jeremy like, who said that? Like, like who said that? Now see, this is gonna be like tying into the whole setup thing that I've been saying since my last video. Clearly, it's a setup. I don't know how, which way it's going, but yeah, they trying to get him out of there. Clay takes the mutt downstairs to the cage, get all the information that he can out of him. That part I saw. I guess I was confused on how we got there, but now I see how. Okay, so next is Logan. Logan's girlfriend came home and she's telling him that she might be pregnant, like she don't think she got the flu or whatever. So there's that's happening. And let me just say, I don't know why I thought Logan was gonna be like happy at the possibility, like, just ecstatic, overly happy, but he's really not, and I'm not sure why that is right now. Like, and I get it, we're adults, like as we're entering this parenthood, we're not sure if that's something that we want, so I get needing to talk about it, but it just seems like it just bring him way down, if that makes sense. And then now let's get into the good part. So Elena goes to the wedding, right? And guess who shows up? The Daniel guy, right? So he shows up and he's like telling her all types of stuff about Clay and how he just put a beating on the mutt that came, but he's not telling her that the mutt came at the alpha. So he's like omitting that, just making it seem like Clay is going crazy wild, right? Shortly after he left, Jeremy calls her and is trying to make sure she's okay, checking up on her since they are dealing with like the mutts who are killing off the pack members. So she doesn't tell him about Daniel coming to visit her, but as she's getting ready to leave, Clay calls her and she's telling him like it won't end well or whatever. And when she gets her jacket, there is a present there for Jeremy. Now, who you think left that? Daniel. So that's gonna make her have to go back to let Jeremy know that he left this gift for her, and you're not gonna believe what was inside. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the latest pack member that was found dead or whatever, they took his eyeballs. The mutt took his eyeballs. So with that, in the box that was given to Elena for Jeremy was the eyeballs. So now they know for a fact the Daniel that came to exchange information for like pack status is a part of the issue. And I forgot to mention that the torture that Clay had to do to get the information out of the mutt that came there for Jeremy, the mutt said that Carl, sent him there or whatever. He took all of his canine teeth. Like, I guess he made him change into a wolf and took all the teeth out. I think that has the same effect as like declawing a cat. Maybe they don't have like no defense mechanism. Wow. Okay, so far, season 1, episode 7 of Bitten is my favorite. So far, it is my favorite. A lot of stuff has happened this episode, so let's unpack it. Okay, so right at opening, Daniel Santos ends up calling Elena, and they end up setting a meeting between the Alpha and Daniel Santos, who's supposed to come along. Well, as they go out to the meeting spot, try to like scope the scenery and get like their sights or where they're gonna be at during this meeting. Kane comes and he turns into a wolf and he's getting ready to attack Clay. Now Elena sees this, like sees him approaching, so she goes ahead and changes quickly, and they start fighting in wolf form, her and Kane, right? As they're going through that, Clay ends up calling Jeremy, them telling them that this is an ambush, they're under attack. So they start coming, right? And then all of a sudden, there's a like car crash or whatever, and a woman, human, is laying on the ground, and they stop to try to help her. Now Antonio was telling Jeremy, no, let's keep on going, let's keep going, like mind our business. And then they was attacked. That woman tried to stab him. when she tries to stab him, that was like the cue. Mutts was coming from everywhere, every which way. It was about 50 lemons. No, I'm just playing. It wasn't that many. It was only like 3 or 2, include, yeah, it's like 2 or 3. And yeah, they messed Antonio up, boy. Oh my goodness, don't get me wrong. Jeremy was messed up too, but not as bad as Antonio. They really should have just kept going and listened to him. And y'all already know where this is going. Like, Antonio ended up passing. They did all they can for him. And I just feel really bad for Nick because that was his dad. And, well, hold on. Is there something in the wolf blood that gets them to, like, stop aging after something? Because I was so confused as to how that was his daddy in the first place. Same thing with Clay and Jeremy. But I know Jeremy found Clay and brought him there when he was, like, 8 or something. So, now, after they go through that with Antonio, you know, Nick is going to go ahead and prepare his body for the service and whatnot. Jeremy was stabbed up pretty good, so they just kind of giving him rest because he needs time to heal or whatever. He's moving very slow and sluggish. The cop came by, or the sheriff, excuse me, came by. You know, he had to entertain that while he was hurt and leaking blood and trying to hide it and all of that. So that happened. Meanwhile, Clay and Elena is on the hunt for Kane. They find him and bring him back for torture. So Jeremy ended up collapsing, and they don't know what's wrong with him, right? Turns out that the knife that he was cut with was, like, laced with something. So now they're, like, racing against the clock to try to find, like, what it was that was on it, so that way they can know how to cure it. Now let's talk about the small little details that went into this episode that made it really, you know, pop for me. Let's start with Kane, right? Because he has this human woman, the one that, like, you know, helped out in the ambush. She knows that they're werewolves. And I thought that was, like, against the rules. Like, you know, like, yeah, but she knows. So now that has Kane's girlfriend, human girlfriend, thinking that she won't die either because she knows she's strong and she's resilient and she has it in her, is what she's saying. So she is begging him to bite her, and he will not bite her for nothing at all. Like, absolutely not a chance. So I'm thinking that if Clay doesn't get the information out of him, he probably will go and try to bite her to get back at him. And then there was Logan. You know, they called Logan to let him know that Antonio died. You know, Nick is supposed to be his best friend. And, you know, he was kind of not necessarily brushing him off. He was pretty sad about it, but he wasn't coming right away, if that makes sense, which I guess it does, considering that his girlfriend is pregnant, which he has not said anything about, by the way. So yeah, speaking of, he found out that was not her first time being pregnant, and he wasn't mad about it. He wasn't like, you know, he seemed even sadder. I don't know why. I could be reading into it. Maybe it's all the same sadness, but he's like putting on like a brave face, like a friend. Like, I believe he wants to have a baby with her, but at the same time, I don't think he wants to have a baby. I don't know. That's not funny. I'm sorry. But yeah, I just don't think, maybe he doesn't feel like he's ready to have a baby. I really don't know what it is, but he just does not seem all like that enthusiastic. Don't get me wrong, she kind of don't either, but she's like getting into it and she's smiling and, you know, happy, and he's doing that same thing. But the second he hugs her and is able to like look away and release that, it just really he looks sad. I don't know. He looks sad. The next thing I want to talk about is Elena's boyfriend back in Toronto. He is, I don't know why I keep saying Toronto like that. Anywho, he is on the hunt for the owner of the video because somebody who hired him is looking for the video, and that is making him, you know, dig all into the video and the person to find it so that way he can buy the rights to it so they can use it for whatever they want to use it for, right? Clearly, this is a part of the setup, like, at least for me, it has me thinking that, you know, it has me on the edge of my seat that, like, he's going to find something that's going to key him back to Elena and him knowing that she's a werewolf. Like, yeah, I don't know why, but literally that is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, like, yeah, he's going to find out, he's going to attach the video to her, and it's going to come out that the video was, like, Daniel or something. He knew where they were going to run. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you have any show recommendations, drop them down below. Just keep them bingeable and spoiler-free. Subscribe for more.